Magandang araw sa inyo mga kababayan. Ngayon nating pag-uusapan sa nagbabagang balita, ang RA 9262 o ang Violence Against Women and Children. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, narito si Zian Nicaela. Zian?
Thank you, Angelo. Do you know what is RA 9262 or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004? It is a law that seeks to address the violence against women and their children by their intimate partners like their husband or ex-husband, live-in partner or former live-in partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, dating partner or former dating partner. It is hereby declared that the state values the dignity of women and children and guarantees full respect for human rights. The state also recognizes the need to protect the family and its members, particularly women and children, from violence and threats to their personal safety and security. RA 9262 covers several acts of violence which are physical violence, acts that include bodily or physical harm, sexual violence, acts which are sexual in nature committed against a woman or her child, psychological violence, acts or omission causing or likely to cause mental or emotional suffering of the victim, economic abuse, acts that make or attempt to make a woman financially dependent upon her abuser. This act shall be liberally construed to promote the protection and safety of victims of violence against women and their children. The crime of violence against women and their children is committed through any of the following acts: causing physical harm to the woman or her child, threatening to cause the woman or her child physical harm, attempting to cause the woman or her child physical harm, placing the woman or her child in fear of imminent physical harm, attempting to compel or compelling the woman or her child to engage in conduct which the woman or her child has the right to desist from. Now let's talk about the penalties. Offenders proven in court to be guilty of the crime shall be penalized with imprisonment ranging from 1 month and 1 day to 20 years, payment of 100,000 to 300,000 in damages, mandatory psychological counseling, or psychiatric treatment. For more information about VAUSI, let's hear it from Maya.
Thank you, Zian. Under this law, cases of violence against women and their children shall fall under the original and exclusive jurisdiction of the regional trial court designated as a family court. The complainant may choose to file the case in the regional trial court where the crime or any of its components was committed if there is no such court in the location where the offense was committed. Next, we have protection orders. Protection order is an order issued to prevent further acts of violence against women or her child. The protection orders helps the victim to prevent from further harm, minimize disruption in daily life, and independently control over her life. Under this act, the protection orders that may be issued are the Barangay Protection Order or BPO, which is only valid for 15 days and non-extendable, the Temporary Protection Order or TPO, which is 30 days valid and extendable upon filing of application, and last, Permanent Protection Order or PPO, which may be valid forever until revoked by court upon application by the victim. Any of the following people or entities may file a petition for a protection order: offended party, parents or guardians of the offended party, ascendants, descendants, or collateral relatives within the fourth civil degree of affinity, officers or social workers of DSWD or LGUs, and so on. The procedures for venue under Section 409 of the Local Government Code of 1991 must be followed when submitting an application for PPOs. While PPO and TPO can be filed in a municipal or regional trial court that has jurisdiction over the petitioner's residence respectively. The request for a protection order must be made in writing, signed by the applicant and validated under oath. It may be brought as a standalone lawsuit or as an incidental relief in any civil or criminal case where issues involve violence as defined by this legislation. These applications for protection orders, a standard application form that is written in English and translated into the most common local languages, must be made available. These forms must include the following: name and addresses of the petitioner and respondent, description of relationships, a statement of circumstances of the abuse, description of the reliefs requested by the petitioner, request for counsel and reasons for such, request for waiver of application fee until hearing, and an attestation that there is no pending application for a protection order in another court. A court-filed petition for a protection order is regarded as request for both a TPO and PPO. Applicants may receive assistance in the preparation of their applications from barangay authorities and court employees. Any breach of a TPO or PPO under this act will result in a fine of up to 50,000 pesos or up to 6 months in jail. All TPOs and PPOs issued under this act will be enforceable throughout the Philippines. For more information, let's hear it from Nina.
Maraming salamat, Mariel. Magtungo naman tayo sa legal representation of petitioners for protection order. So this means if the woman does not have money to hire a private lawyer, then the judge shall order a lawyer from the public attorney's office to handle the case of the victim. And meron tayong mga protection orders under this law. First is yung barangay protection order. Pinapali ito sa barangay, kay kapitan, or sa kagawad kapag hindi available si kapitan. Ini-issue ito on the same day of application, so ex parte. Pag sinabi natin ex parte, kung ano lang yung statement na sinabi ng isang victim, sapat na siya para i-grant sa kanya ang barangay protection order. At ito ay attested before the punong barangay dahil siya ang may jurisdiction sa application. And then we have temporary protection order. 30 days ang validity nito and extendable until after application for permanent protection order is decided. So dito sa court na tayo magpa-file, and again ex parte, meaning based ulit siya sa statement ng isang victim. And then we have permanent protection order. Ito naman, pag binigay ng court, forever na siya na may visa unless i-revoke ng court dahil nag-request ang victim na i-revoke na ito. So may notice and hearing na. Both party, which is the victim and abuser, pakikinggan ang side nila bago mag-decide ang court kung dapat ba na magbigay ng permanent protection order. Next is the notice of sanction in protection orders. So, in here, dapat yung statement ay kagaya nito. Dapat ay printed in boldface type or in capital letters. And then we have the mandatory period for acting on applications for protection orders. So in here, failure to act on an application for a protection order period nang walang makatwirang dahilan ay magbibigay ka na ng pananagutan sa mga opisyal or sa mga hukom. And para naman sa karagdagang impormasyon, narito si Mark Noel Ignacio.
Thank you, Nina. I'm Mark Noel, reporting the Section 19 of Legal Separation case. In case of legal separation case, where the violence specified in Act, Article 58 of the Family Code shall not be applied, and the court shall be proceed for the protection order by the petitioner by the conducted within the mandatory period specified in this Act. Section 2220, priority of application for a protection order, the court shall proceed in order to hear application of for a protection order necessarily, and shall schedule and conduct hearings for the application of this. In Section 21, violation of protection orders, a complaint for a violation of a BPO issued under this Act shall be filed directly in the municipal trial court, metropolitan trial court, or municipal circuit trial court with the territorial jurisdiction of the barangay. And the imprisonment of 30 days will be the violation for the BPO shall be punishable. Section 22, applicability for a protection order to criminal case. Implied dispute with the criminal action involving violence against women and their children is the Section 22. Ban to keep the peace. The court shall the order to any person against whom protection order is issued to give ban to keep the peace. The sufficient surety is who shall undertake that such person will not commit the violence sought to be prevented. In Section 24, prescriptive period. Act shall not be under the Section 5A to 5F shall prescribe in 20 years. Act falling under Section 5G to 5I shall prescribe in 10 years. And that's all. For more information, to Mark Angelo Mendoza. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Noel. Ang next naman ay yung Section 25 of Public Crime. Ito, any violence against women and their children shall be considered a public offense which may be prosecuted ng anyone na mag-file ng complaint na may knowledge about dun sa pangyayari. Ang susunod naman ay ang battered woman syndrome sa defense. Dito napapaloob na ang isang victim survivor na nakakaranas ng battered woman syndrome ay hindi magkakaroon ng criminal and civil liability kung may kakulangan sa kanyang justification na kanyang ginawa ay self-defense. At dito, ang korte ay dapat na i-assist ng isang psychiatrist at psychologist. Ang susunod naman ay prohibited defense. Any influence ng alcohol, drugs, and any mind-altering substances shall not be a defense under this act. At ang next ay ang custody of children. The woman victim of violence shall be entitled to the custody and support of her child and children. At any children na below 7 and older na may mental and physical disability shall automatically given to the mother with the right to support unless the court finds its compelling reason to order otherwise. And nasusunod naman na yung duties of the prosecutors and court personnel. They have the duties to communicate with the victim sa language na naintindihan ng women or ng child, and also inform them sa kanilang rights, including legal remedies available and procedures and privileges. Ang next naman ay ang duties ng barangay officials. They have the duties to respond immediately sa call ng help, confiscate any deadly weapon, transport and escort the victim sa safe place, assist yung victim sa removing ng personal belongings, and assist yung mga barangay officials na nag-respond sa help, and ensure the enforcement of protection order issued by the punong barangay or the court, and also arrest the suspected perpetrator without a warrant when any of the act of violence defined by this act is occurring. And next ay ang immediate report the call for assessment and assistance of DSWD, Social Welfare Department of LGUs or accredited non-government organizations. At para sa karagdagang pang impormasyon na patungkol dito, nandito si Melvin.
Maraming salamat, Mark. Sa clause ng RA 9262 ang mga tungkulin ng healthcare providers if ever they assess abuse victims. Ilan sa mga ito ay ang proper documentation of the physical, emotional, and psychological state of the victims. They should also provide free certificate, and it is also their responsibility to safeguard these records and make them available upon request of the victim at actual cost. Included also in this law the duties of other government agencies and LGUs to establish programs such as campaigns and seminars to educate the public to raise awareness and prevent the violence against women and their children. They also have the responsibility to educate and train the officers and personnel that directly caters to the victims. Isa rin sa mga dapat tandaan that the punong barangay, barangay kagawad, or the court hearing an application for protection order shall not order, direct, force, or in any way influence the applicant to compromise. This means na bawal mong ipilit pag-aregluhin ang biktima sa suspect. Nakasaad rin sa batas that any person who is acting in accordance with the law responds or intervenes to without using violence or restraint greater than necessary to ensure the safety of the victim should not be liable for any liability. So kung ikaw nasaksihan mo na yung kapitbahay niyo inaabuso ng kanyang asawa, tapos pumasok ka sa bahay nila para iligtas siya, hindi ka pwedeng kasuhan ng trespassing dahil nga ini-ensure mo lang na safe yung biktima. Pero, kailangan din nating tandaan na dapat it is in accordance with the law and without causing violence or restraint greater than necessary. So, ano nga ba yung mga rights ng mga victims under this law? So, the victim should be treated with respect and dignity. They can also avail of legal assistance from public attorney's office or any public legal assistance such as free lawyers. The victims are also entitled to the support services of DSWD and LGUs. These services such as counseling, temporary shelter, and healthcare services. The victims are also eligible to legal remedies and support as provided for under the Family Code, such as settlement of the child support kung mayroon man silang anak, and the victims has the right to be informed of the rights and services available to them, including the right to apply for protection order. RA 9262 also states that any victim of violence under this act shall be entitled to actual compensatory, moral, and exemplary damages. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, nandito si Jairo upang magbahagi ng iba pang impormasyon na saklaw ng RA 9262.
Maraming salamat, Meldeline. Narito naman ang iba pang nilalaman ng nasabing batas. Whole departure order. The court shall expedite the process of issuance of a whole departure order in cases prosecuted under this act. In other words, it prohibits individuals from leaving the country. Next is exemption from payment of docket fee and other expenses. If the victim is an indigent or there is an immediate necessity due to imminent danger or threat of danger to act on application for a protection order, the court shall accept the application without payment of the filing fee and other fees. Next is Interagency Council on Violence Against Women and Their Children, or IAC-VAUC. These agencies are tasked to formulate programs and projects to eliminate VAUC based on their mandates, as well as develop capability programs for their employees to become more sensitive to the needs of their clients. Next is mandatory programs and services for victims. The DSWD and LGUs shall provide the victims temporary shelters, provide counseling, psychosocial services, and/or recovery, rehabilitation programs, and livelihood assistance. Also, the DOH shall provide medical assistance to the victims. Next is counseling and treatments of offenders. The DSWD shall provide rehabilitative counseling and treatment to perpetrators towards learning constructive ways of coping with anger and emotional outbursts and reforming their ways. When necessary, the offender shall be ordered by the court to submit to psychiatric treatment or confinement. Next is training persons involved in responding to VAUC cases. All agencies involved in responding to violence against women and their children cases shall be required to undergo education and training to properly handle VAUC cases. Next is entitled to leave. Victims under this act shall be entitled to take paid leave of absence up to 10 days in addition to other paid leaves under the Labor Code and Civil Service rules and regulations extendable when the necessities arises as specified in the protection order. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, narito si JC nag-uulat.
In Section 44, it's about confidentiality. Lahat ng records patungkol sa violence against women and children ay dapat manatiling confidential. At kung sino lumabag rito ay liable at may parusa na 1-year imprisonment and a fine of 500,000 pesos. The topic of funding is indicated at Section 45. Section 46 is about the implementing rules and regulations. Moreover, Section 47 discussed the supplementary application wherein it is stated that the revised penal code and other applicable laws shall have supplementary application. Section 48 only discussed the separability clause, na kung sakali ang ibang provision ng RA 9262 ay invalid due to some circumstances, hindi ito pwedeng maapektuhan dahil each sections are separate from each other. Section 49 is about the repealing clause. Lahat ng klase ng laws ay dapat mapawalang bisa o kaya naman ay mabago kung sakali maging inconsistent sa provisions ng RA 9262. Lastly, Section 50. It is about the effectivity of this Act wherein it's indicated that RA 9262 shall take effect 15 days from the date of its complete publication in at least 2 newspaper of general circulation. O alam nyo na ngayon ang RA 9262. Kaya back to you, Angelo. Thank you!
Ngayon, alam na natin ang RA 9262 o ang Violence Against Women and Children. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. At ating tandaan na walang nakakaangat sa batas.